The continent of Asia offers amazing countries, incredible sights and tasty food, but there are a few things that you need to know before you travel Asia. This is Katie from Creative Travel Guide, and today we are sharing tips for backpacking Asia. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure you hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. First, let's look at tips for planning a trip to Asia. So the first one is going to sound pretty obvious, but you need to choose your destination. Asia is full of contrasting countries, and to help you make that decision, make sure you go over to our website Creative Travel Guide. After living in Asia for 4 years, we have loads of content on there looking at some of the best places to visit. Once you have chosen your destination, the first thing you need to do is look at vaccinations. Visit your doctor or health centre at least 5 months before you travel to find out which vaccinations you will need. Generally speaking, you may need Hep A, Hep B, typhoid and polio jabs before visiting Southeast Asia. Next, you are going to want to check the weather. Before planning and choosing your dates, make sure to check the weather in your chosen destination. Avoid monsoon season and aim for low season if you are travelling on a budget. Then you are going to want to book at least your first night stay. When coming to Asia, some people may choose to book your hotel or hostel as you travel. However, make sure you have at least your first night booked in advance. After a long flight, you will need a decent night's sleep to sort out your jet lag. And of course, before you go, you also need to get some travel insurance. There are too many horror stories of backpackers getting into horrific accidents in Asia and not having travel insurance to cover them. Get decent insurance. We recommend using World Nomads. We'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check them out. So now we've looked at tips for planning a trip to Asia, now we need to look at things that you need to know before you go. So firstly, we have currency. In some countries around Asia, the US dollar is used as well as their national currency. Laos, Vietnam and Cambodia are countries that prefer the dollar, and you can get reasonable exchange rates at ATMs. However, make sure you do have some local currency too, as markets and small shops may not take dollar. Our next tip is to bring a light bag. A light bag is perfect for days exploring a new city. Make sure it has a zip and is preferably a shoulder, tote or satchel bag. And whilst we are talking about packing, make sure you bring some tissues. This one is for the ladies, but make sure you bring some tissues with you in your handbag when you travel around Asia. Many bathrooms do not come with toilet paper. Another thing to think about when visiting Asia and travelling around Asia is whether or not to take a backpack with you. If you plan on taking a lot of buses or trains around Asia, then take a backpack. Buses rarely offer large storage space, with smaller buses putting luggage around your feet, under chairs and in between seats. However, if you plan on flying the majority of your trip, a suitcase is just fine. And the most important thing before you fly anywhere is to check the visas. Places like Myanmar, Vietnam and China require visas before arrival, so do your research and get them sorted before you leave. So we have talked about planning and preparing for your trip to Asia. Now let's look at budgeting. So it is really important to plan your budget for any travel. Asia can be as expensive or as cheap as you want it to be. It is possible to spend as little as $20 a day, but I recommend at least $50 a day per couple is a good amount to budget. Make sure you use blogs and websites to find out as much information of your chosen destination. We actually have a load of cost of travel blog posts on our website. I shall leave some great links in the description below. And then that leads on to our next tip, is to bring extra. You can travel cheap, but make sure you bring extra cash along so that you can have some fun. There are so many people that we have met on our travels who aren't enjoying everything a place has to offer in order to afford their trip. What is the point of travelling if you are not going to see or do anything? Which leads us on nicely to our next tip, looking at the most expensive and the most cheapest places to visit in Asia. So firstly, let's look at expensive places to visit. So Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea, Borneo, and some areas of the Philippines and China can all be expensive places to visit. However, there is always a reason for that, and it is usually because they are worth visiting. Try and afford to visit at least one of these places on your trip. My pick is always going to be Tokyo. Then for the cheapest places to visit, there are some awesome and cheap places to visit in Southeast Asia. Your money can really stretch when you visit places like Vietnam, Cambodia or Thailand. Another tip for budgeting is make sure whilst you are in Asia to haggle. Across Asia, you will be met with higher prices because you are a foreigner. Practice the art of haggling, and if it is too much, walk away. Chances are there is probably a stall around the corner selling the same stuff. So now let's talk about how to get around Asia. One way to save some money travelling Asia is to slow down. Everything in Asia seems to slow down. You can save a lot of money by taking the slow route to another country via bus or train rather than plane. Plus, by taking the bus, you can visit the smaller, lesser known destinations in a country. Now, when I say bus, you might be thinking of an old rickety object, but in Asia, you can get a VIP bus. VIP and first class buses can be worth it for long journeys. They always include air conditioning, often an on-bus toilet, and can be much faster than the second or third class options. If you are planning everything in advance and would prefer to fly, then you can save some money by booking all of your flights at once. We prefer to use the multi-flight option on Skyscanner to save some serious money. Another popular way to get around a country whilst you are in it is by renting a scooter. Renting a scooter around Asia, particularly in Southeast Asia, is a great way to get around, see the countryside and save some money. Licenses aren't always needed, but bring your driving license from home just in case. Also, when you are looking at flying from one destination to another, make sure you check out AirAsia. It is the main budget airline with flights as low as $15. Check their website in advance and get booking, especially if you are visiting Asia for a short period of time. And last but not least, once you have planned your whole trip, here are a few tips for whilst you are in Asia. So firstly, don't drink the local water. The local water in most places in Asia isn't clean and will make you sick, so don't drink it. That being said, ice is often clean as it is usually made in factories using filtered waters. You do not need to worry about the ice, and we have never become sick from ice, and you will definitely want a cold drink whilst you're in Asia. Another tip for visiting Asia is to respect local beliefs. Whether it is not touching people's head, walking on the other side of the road from a monk, or removing your shoes before entering a temple, read the signs and follow the rules. You are a guest in the country, so be respectful. Another tip whilst visiting Asia is to stay healthy. As boring as it sounds, make sure you drink enough water and get some greens in your diet too. There is nothing worse than feeling rubbish while sitting on an 8-hour bus journey or trying to climb a mountain, explore a city, or get lost in a temple. And one last tip for visiting Asia, and this is a fun one, make sure to try scuba diving. Whilst in Asia, try and find an opportunity to scuba dive. Tours are considerably cheaper than those in North America and Europe, with PADI courses at cheap rates found in Thailand, Philippines and India. So we hope you have an incredible time in Asia. Like we said before, make sure you go over to our website, Creative Travel Guide, to see lots of Asia travel guides over there. Have fun, let us know where you're going in the comments below, stay safe, and until next time, stay creative.